Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Melfield talking to the two big stars of the new big show in the West End, and it is big. Jay, Kimberley, how are you?
Great,
Good.
how are you?
It's so nice to see you both, and separately, I mean, you've done so much in your lives and careers, but now you're back together doing this beautiful show, which is enormous, in a phenomenally big theatre.
Yeah.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Well, I mean, we did it before in Ireland, and it felt massive, but now I feel like the stage is appropriate for the size of the theatre. You've got all those spinning screens, and you've got the massive houses coming on and off, and I'm like, no, we've found the right home, I think, in the Dominion.
It's huge, isn't it? But the set does fill the stage,
Yeah.
so we're good.
We've spoken so many times over the years for different things, from the pop bands through the musicals and now here, and I always ask you the same question, why you? Why did they pick you for this?
Oh.
I'll answer for you.
Okay, yeah.
So Susan, at the start of the show, she's a little bit of a goer. She has her tricks, you know. She looks around who's a powerful and interesting ally in the office. It was the 80s, it was tough for women. But you have to warm to Susan. She has to have a sweetheart of gold. And I think everyone that knows Kimberley knows that that's in there. So she turns on this sauciness, but she's got that sweetness too.
I guess the word they use now is sass, and that's what you've got in this. But most importantly, the comic timing. Beautiful. You've sort of got that zinger about your delivery, haven't you?
I love hearing that. That's brilliant. That's what I want, obviously, to achieve. Like, the writers have given us a brilliant script to work with, but if we don't get it right, we lose those laughs. But we do feel like we're getting like that rumbling laughter the whole way through, don't we?
Yeah.
So we're doing something right, and we play around with stuff, don't we? We're like, if we don't get a laugh on that, we're like, should we try it like this tonight? And then we get one, we're like, yes.
Yeah, and you bank them. You bank certain moments that, okay, that's funny, and then you try and lock it like that. And then we've ended up with something like, instead of just two big laughs, there's the two big ones, and then, like you say, rolling ones throughout. And I'm like, she's brilliant. She's brilliant.
He's brilliant. I'm going to answer why he got cast, because I honestly cannot imagine anybody else doing your role. I really can't. Like, he's fantastic. I mean, he is a big kid, let's be honest, aren't you?
And you're sort of playing the role of Mr. Delicious, which you've got to be in this. I mean, the audience have got to love you, and you've got to be charming. You sort of play that beautifully. And then, of course, there's the story. There's a bigger story and a bigger sort of moral to the whole piece, which is important that you don't lose.
Yeah, well, I think that's, I mean, the wonderful thing about this show is a lot of it you see it through Josh's eyes as the kid, and you have to be sweet and optimistic. But I think the reason that the show can be taken seriously is because you also see Josh through Susan's eyes. You see him as an adult, because you can't just see a 5-year-old the whole time, you know, a 12-year-old the whole time. You have to see who she falls in love with, and that's why it's painful at the end when she has to let him go back to what he really is, you know?
You're both mega pop stars and are used to big arenas where people are screaming and talking all the way through and yelling at you and throwing things at you. Is it strange being in a theatre where you sort of have to work for the laugh and work for the applause at the end? Because it's a very different thing, isn't it? Pop music to musical theatre.
It's completely different. Like, when we do our tours and stuff, it's like everybody that's there has just come to see us do our songs, so it's a pretty easy crowd, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Whereas theatre's like, okay, we've got to prove ourselves, we've got to get them on side, we've got to take them on the journey of the story with us. Like, it's much more challenging, but I think, I don't know about you, but like where I'm at in my life now, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm up for the challenge.
It's more fun. Going out and then feeling them be responsive to things that you do, whether it's good or bad. If it goes a bit quiet, you're like, oh, that wasn't the time. It keeps you really going. And when we had our big press nights, when there's a large amount of fans in, that sort of fan reaction feels completely alien. So like, when I jump out of this cupboard in pants, they're like, woo! And I was like, what are you doing? You're in a theatre. And then Kimberley came out to sing this amazing song about hating her own secretary. And the moment she even came on stage, I was like, woo! I was like, this is not appropriate, guys. So it feels really odd when there are fan presence in there, you know?
Yeah.
And the downside of being you is that you have to turn up and be you. Do you get neurotic about your voice and being able to do the show? Because this is actually quite a long show compared to other musicals for family.
Do you know what? We're both so chilled. We are. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm glad that you're the same as me.
I think Kimberley's more relaxed than me. Like, I definitely think, right, okay, I need to do that like this today, and I'll go over it beforehand. But Kimberley's just like, you know what you're doing.
No, I
you know?
do that too. When you go down, I've got like my 10 minutes.
Ah,
I do
right,
I don't want to bore you with it while you're chilling out before the show. When you're gone, I'm like, oh, making sure it's all there. Yeah, it's there.
But no, we had our big press night, and we had a late night of interviews and all that other stuff that goes with that. And the next day, I think everyone still just came in happy and like, we've got this, you know, like we know what we're.
Because we enjoy it, don't we?
Yeah.
We're enjoying ourselves.
And fundamentally, this is where you want to be, isn't it? You want to be proper, respected actresses and actors doing what you do on a stage to audiences that aren't necessarily going to give you a free ticket just because you're a pop star.
Well, that would be great, yeah. If people see us that way, then we'll be really happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love playing the roles.
How easy is it creating the chemistry where you really do like each other in real life?
I think we just got lucky, to be honest, that we actually like each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what would happen if you
I'm not a very good actor, you see, so...
No, but like we didn't know each other that well. I mean, I looked and thought he seems like a nice guy, but until you actually meet somebody, you don't know.
Yeah, and you see how they work.
Yeah.
Like seeing someone for 10 minutes and asking about their week, everyone gets away with that, don't they?
Yeah,
but actually working with you, I was straight away like, oh, you remind me a lot of the Wanted boys. Like...
I don't know. I should take
What do you mean? She needs a shave or something? What are you trying to say?
Just, like you take the right things seriously, and then everything else is fair game to sort of take the pee out of a bit. And I think that's really nice to be around, and then fun to do on stage.
Because there is two ways of thinking of this. One, it's the biggest musical in the world, and two, it's just show business and you're here to have a good time. And you've got to keep the two in balance, because if you sort of lose perspective, it can get so big you can't actually do the job you're there to do.
Yeah.
Totally. And there's nothing worse than putting that level of pressure on yourself and like working yourself up every night and not really enjoying it. Like, it is just a show. Like, we want people to laugh, we want people to leave feeling like happy and uplifted, but that's really all we've got to do out there.
I think also we've both been in bands that were big, and if you're in the middle of that band, you think it's even bigger than it is, because no one hears about your band more than you. And both of us have broke away from that and sort of go,
you realise
one of many, you know?
Exactly.
I hope you enjoyed it, and that's what it was.
They've given you a beautiful orchestra with this show, which they didn't necessarily need to do. I mean, this is a short run. You do wonder how anybody's making any money, because all the rehearsal and the cost of the show and then the live band and paying you guys isn't cheap. They've really given you a show, haven't they? Which is so impressive.
We're so lucky, actually. The orchestra are phenomenal. Like, as soon as they start playing the overture, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
We're just lucky.
It's really old school musical theatre. It reminds me of the MGM, but then they've also got some of those like 80s synths in there. But Stuart Morley, who's the MD, he was determined that it was going to be a massive orchestra, and there was a little bit of a back and forth, but eventually even the producers were like, it's just beautiful. It's wonderful. You know, if this could carry on afterwards, the reason it would do it is because everyone came and was like, well, that was worth it.
Yeah.
That ticket was worth it. It's not like theatres, you know, just going to the movies on your Saturday, is it?
No, so I think like this show means a lot to everybody involved, so they've really just wanted it to be like the best that it could be, and you feel that, and you feel that energy within the cast as well, which is nice.
We've got to talk about you as a dancer, because that is really where you get to shine in this big thing. And of course, there's these big numbers where they've given you your stage and you own it beautifully. I mean, A, it must be thrilling to have all that around you, but B, to knock it out the park and everybody saying, my God, he really can dance. He's not just some celeb given the role, which, let's face it.
Even I said that to him. I was like, I didn't know you could dance like that.
Great.
Like in Coffee Black and all the like contemporary stuff. Like, he's proper like trained dancer.
Yeah, well, I think that the fun thing about this one, and actually it's not just in the dancing but in my acting, I've sort of realised you get given all these tools and it's all about showing who that person is and where they're at. So in Coffee Black, when he's just spent his night with Susan, I've really enjoyed that the choreography is showing him absolutely like riled up to the point that actually, you want to dance. So I found that my acting in dancing is probably the first time I ever did it. On Straight, they told me all the time, like, act out for us, share it with the audience, and I was like, I don't really want to, like, I want to do these steps that I've learned and like just sort of do it with Aliona, and then everyone just sort of watch us, but actually you know what I mean, but actually it's not about that, it's about sharing it out with everyone, and I think this time around I'm getting the hang of it.
Sure.
You've done it superbly, and everybody said the same, that the two of you do steal the show, one with your personality and two with the moves, because let's face it, we need feel good, and that's what this show is really. It's a story of hope, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I think everyone can be reminded of that sort of sweet part of them that you train to like hide it a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Interestingly, there was one kid who was in the last run of Big who came last night, who was at the stage door. He's a teenager now, and I remember him just being so confident, and he'd run into a room and he'd do the splits, and he was just like, I was like, you're different from everyone else here, but you're amazing. And now he's a teenager, and I'm like, damn, he got cool.
Oh, really?
You know, and I wonder how long that will last. Like, I wonder if he'll get to 20 and then be like, damn it, you know, I'm doing splits again. But it's just funny watching how people change, and I think this show is a good reminder of like to think about where you're at.
I think as well, like, if we're having fun on stage, people do feel it, and we actually are. I think like being in a musical, it does almost bring the child out in me, because that's what I did as a kid, so it does make me feel that way.
Your laugh.
Yeah, I laugh a lot, don't I?
In Cross the Line, right, we were dancing last night.
He's like, you're acting,
I really looked at her and I was like, bloody hell, she's loving it tonight. So I started laughing during it. And then I thought, wait, is she faking it? And are you acting? And she was like, sort of.
Bit of both.
You know,
I'm enjoying myself.
This sounds like my life in the bedroom. I ask myself these questions all the time. Guys, congratulations. At a time they're putting people into shows who really don't deserve their place in the West End, to see two stars who really do is so magical. Can't wait to see the show this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.